The day I opened that letter from the HOA, my hands trembled, not from fear, but from disbelief at how far they were willing to go to control my life. My backyard had always been my safe place, the one corner of the world where memories lived, laughter echoed, and peace felt real. But suddenly, that peace was challenged by rules I had never agreed to, demands I knew were unfair, and pressure that tried to silence my voice. What they didn't know was that my backyard wasn't just a piece of land. It was a part of my heart, and I wasn't going to give it up quietly. It all started on a bright morning when I found an envelope taped to my gate marked, "Immediate compliance required," written in bold red letters. Inside was a list of so-called violations: my garden lights, my small sitting area, even the wooden swing I built with my own hands for my family. They claimed my backyard was not aesthetically aligned with community standards, even though nothing I built harmed anyone or broke any real policy. Instead of feeling guided or supported, I felt judged, targeted, and treated like my home belonged to them instead of me. I walked into the yard and looked around, seeing memories instead of mistakes, the flowers my mother helped me plant, the table where we shared late-night talks, the swing where childhood smiles still lived. Every piece of that space carried love, effort, and meaning, yet the notice reduced it all to a list of restrictions and fines. My heart felt heavy, but I refused to let anger take over, because I knew reacting with frustration would only make things worse. So I took a deep breath, reminding myself that calm, patience, and truth would be stronger than any intimidation letter. That evening, I reread every page of the HOA guidelines, highlighting rules, comparing wording, and realizing that many of their claims were vague and inconsistent. It felt less like community care and more like control, as if my personal space had become their playground for unnecessary authority. Instead of arguing impulsively, I documented everything: photos, dates, conversations, every corner of my yard, every detail they mentioned. I wasn't preparing for a fight. I was preparing for fairness, because standing up for yourself doesn't require anger, only clarity. The next week, I attended the meeting they requested, walking in calmly with my folder of notes, while they sat behind a long table, confident and dismissive. They spoke in cold tones, insisting my backyard was non-compliant, treating my memories like decorations that could be removed at their command. But as they talked, I realized something powerful. They expected me to be silent, to accept everything without question, to shrink under pressure. Instead, I respectfully asked them to show where, exactly, their claims existed in the official policy, and the room grew quiet. They shuffled papers, avoided eye contact, and repeated the same phrases, but none of them could point to a rule that matched their demands. So I calmly presented photos, dates, and printed sections from the handbook, proving that my backyard followed every legitimate guideline already in place. I didn't raise my voice or show frustration. I let facts speak louder than emotion, because truth doesn't need aggression to be powerful. For the first time, their confidence faded, replaced with hesitation, surprise, and the realization that their control had finally been challenged. One member tried to defend their actions, saying my space felt different than the community image, a vague excuse that carried no real authority or fairness. I reminded them, with respect, that homes are not supposed to look identical, and individuality is not a violation, it is a part of life. My backyard wasn't hurting anyone, wasn't violating safety, and wasn't disturbing peace. It was simply personal, meaningful, and beautifully my own. And in that moment, I could feel the energy shift as the conversation transformed from control into accountability. After reviewing everything, they finally agreed to reevaluate their decision, acknowledging inconsistencies, and promising to address the situation properly. I walked out of that meeting not with pride or victory, but with relief, gratitude, and a deeper understanding of the power of staying calm. I didn't win by shouting, threatening, or reacting. I won by believing in myself, respecting the process, and trusting that truth would stand strong. And as I stepped back into my backyard, the air felt lighter, the space even more precious than before. Over the next few days, something unexpected happened. Neighbors began reaching out, sharing their own experiences of feeling pressured or misunderstood. We talked about communication, fairness, and how rules should support a community, not break the spirit of the people who live in it. Together, we encouraged better transparency, clearer guidelines, and kinder conversations, turning what began as conflict into a chance for growth. The backyard that once felt threatened now became a symbol of unity, understanding, and peaceful change. When the final notice arrived, it wasn't a threat, it was an apology, acknowledging the mistake and confirming that my backyard required no changes at all. I stood there holding the letter, feeling a quiet wave of emotion, not anger, not revenge, just deep appreciation for patience, courage, and perseverance. My backyard remained exactly as it was, filled with memories, love, and life, untouched by unnecessary control or fear. And I realized something powerful. Sometimes the strongest response isn't confrontation, it's calm strength backed by truth. Looking back, I'm grateful I didn't give up, didn't react recklessly, and didn't let anyone erase something meaningful to me. This experience taught me that standing up for yourself doesn't mean fighting. It means speaking with confidence, clarity, and respect. It means believing that your voice matters, your home matters, and your peace deserves protection just as much as any rule or policy. And through patience and dignity, even the most difficult moments can become stepping stones toward fairness. So if you ever feel like someone is trying to control your space, your peace, or your voice, remember my story and trust your strength. Stay calm, gather facts, speak respectfully, and never underestimate the power of truth handled with patience and courage. Because real change doesn't come from anger, it comes from determination, understanding, and the willingness to stand up the right way. And that's how the HOA tried controlling my backyard, but instead, they learned the real meaning of respect, community, and resilience.